guys, so today we're going to talk about part one of our potato grow along, which is chitting the potatoes. So when we're talking about chitting, we are giving them a bit of a head start in order to grow in the ground a little bit faster and come up through the soil quicker than they would if they're not chitted. Now, chitting isn't something that you definitely have to do. You can put your potatoes in without chitting them, so if you don't have space inside to do this, or you can't get a hold of your potatoes quick enough, then please don't worry, that's absolutely fine. Excuse me. So when we store our potatoes, these are ones I grew last year, in the cupboard we store them in the dark and we store them for X amount of time, and what we end up with is the white growth. So that is not what we're looking to do when we're chitting. We're looking at storing them in full sunlight. So on your windowsill is absolutely perfect for this. And that is just going to start the process of the potato putting out leaves and starting the shoots that will become each of your branches that come through the soil. Seed potatoes come in a few different varieties. So we have first earlies, second earlies and main crops. First earlies are your new potatoes and they are the quickest ones to grow, and then second earlies take a little bit longer, and your main crop are best for storing, and they are grown to full maturity where the leaves on the top of the plant have completely died back before we harvest them. So the other thing to consider is some of them are flowery and some of them are waxy in texture. So when you have potatoes and they fall apart in the pan and they make fantastic roast potatoes, they're flowery, and the waxy ones are the ones that make really good chips. So have a look at which ones it is that will suit your needs the best and pick accordingly. You can buy seed potatoes in garden centres as well as online. You may also be able to pick up some locally if there's an event on. So here in Shropshire they do an organic seed potato day where they sell lots of seed potatoes, usually very cheap, so it's worth having a look in your local area. When it comes to buying our seed potatoes, it is best once again to avoid just buying them from the supermarket and using those as seed potatoes. There's a few reasons for this. First of all, they're often sprayed with an inhibitor to stop them growing within the bags. They also have been stored for X amount of time, which you don't know. We don't know where they've been grown, which might not do very well in your area. Also, the other things to consider is whether or not there's any pest or diseases, which could be absolutely fine for the supermarket to sell, but we wouldn't want them in our garden to be causing us further issues. Rather than buying a supermarket, if you are going to go down that route, then I would suggest that you find somebody that has grown them organically and locally to you and use those as seed potatoes instead. So this year I am growing first earlies, which are Pentland Javelin. So I've got mine from a company called Simply Seeds. It's the first time I've used them and they look very good and in good condition. Then my second earlies, I've got these saved ones which are Cur Pink, and then I've also got ones called Kestrel. And then my main crop, I've currently got King Edward's, and then I'll be looking for some more when I go to the local day, hopefully. So to chit our potatoes, what we need to do is put them in the window and store them in something just to keep them a little bit separated. So egg boxes are fantastic, and then all I've done is written the name on each egg box on the top. Whoop, don't drop it. And then another way in which I also do it for the larger amounts is in a basket, and then so those are my own saved potatoes, and then I've got another basket full of 2 lots of kestrels because I grow quite a few of those. And all we're going to do is put them in the kitchen window and leave them there until we are ready to plant them out. There is no maintenance, we don't need to water them or anything like that. They will just do their thing from the energy which is within the potato already. I plant mine out quite early and then I provide protection. So potatoes don't tolerate a frost. So for your seed potatoes, if you've got a frost-free polytunnel or greenhouse, then that's fine. they can go out there, but if you have got a frost, then don't keep them outside, keep them in the house. Whereas when we actually grow the potatoes, as soon as those leaves are up through the soil, they are vulnerable to frosts. A little bit of frost will do some damage and the plant will recover. If it's really heavy frost and it completely damages all the leaves that are above the soil, then we could lose that crop. So all I do at that point is use my fleece cloth, like I've got over my seedlings now, and they'll be absolutely fine. So I start mine around March time, and then I'll stagger, so that's my first earlies I'll get in around March, and then I do plant my other ones early April. If however you don't want to plant yours yet and you don't want to start chitting that yet, then that's fine. Just hold off of either buying your seed potatoes, or if you have got seed potatoes and you're worried about them, you could store them in a cold area like a fridge. I've never done this, so I don't know how well they do, or just start chitting them if you have already got them. Otherwise, have a look at buying them a bit later, but what you will find is they sell out quite quickly, or certain varieties do, within the garden centres and shops. So if you're after a particular type, then it is worth getting them sooner rather than later. So I grow my first earlies and my second earlies in the ground, because then I can grow something else afterwards, because they do come out of the ground reasonably soon. We're looking at around 16 to 20 weeks to harvest. Maybe a little bit longer for your second earlies, and then I grow my main crops in large tubs, and they are between 35 and 50 litres each. So in a 35 litre tub I would grow 3 seed potatoes, and in a 50 litre tub I would grow 4. It depends on the size of the potato, and one thing we can do later is if we've got larger seed potatoes like this, if it's got enough sprouts, that may well turn into 2 seed potatoes, and we'll cut it in half. We'll do that the day before they go into the ground to allow the potato, the bit that you've cut, to dry back up again, rather than just rot in the soil straight away.